what could be some factors because of which you think Kerala has maybe the highest or the second highest life expectancy in the country?
When I sit in Delhi and when I answer this question, the first thing which comes in my mind is about the air and the quality.
Some people, as they age, they have more resilience and the will to live longer keeps them alive. Some say it's purpose and some say it's quality of life.
We have seen in some cases, I'm not saying everyone, people who are having certain autoimmune diseases, we find that one of the triggers could be excessive consumption of broccoli.
Could you tell us something that we might be missing out when it comes to, let's begin with cardiovascular. How do we look at it as a disease? Welcome to the Odd Fitness Podcast. Today we have Dr. Sajeev Nair. He is a PhD in human performance. He is also the founder of V-Roots and Eplimo, which is an integration between nutrition, genetics, and modifying epigenetic factors in your life so that you can work on your performance, longevity. And we have so much in common because Odds is a longevity and performance brand as well. So I was very excited for this podcast. So thank you for being here, Dr. Sajeev.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure.
Right, likewise. So, Dr. Sajeev, you come from Kerala, and Kerala has probably one of the highest life expectancies when it comes to the Indian population.
Yeah.
What could be some factors because of which you think Kerala has maybe the highest or the second highest life expectancy in the country?
When I sit in Delhi and when I answer this question, the first thing which comes in my mind is about the air and the quality of the air.
100%.
Because there is definitely pollution in that place also, but compared to that, it's more clean, clean water.
Yes.
And of course, we have a kind of, if you look at it, diversity in terms of, we have the sea, we have the mountain, we have backwaters, we have the rivers,
Right.
all in a small place. Kerala is a very small state.
Right.
So I think all put together, if you look at it, once you come there, I definitely welcome you to come there, because I was surprised that you're a health conscious person. You should be there in Kerala.
I will be there.
And I think, I don't know whether it's good to make a claim, but still I believe that we may be the most hygienic place in the country.
Right, quite possibly. Yes.
Yeah, so when we look around, you can see that happening, and lots of green.
Right.
So a lot of oxygen out there. So all this must be giving a lot of positive impact. In Kerala also, we have a place called Palakkad, that is where the highest life expectancy is now registered.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you look at Palakkad, you can make out very clearly that it's maybe one of the cleanest and also the most least polluted towns in Kerala. It's towards the northern part of Kerala.
Right.
Yeah, so all this, and also we do have the tradition of Ayurveda, which some or other we are practicing that in our life. Like idli or dosha, if you look at it,
yes,
it's all fermented food. Now in biohacking, we all talk about fermented food.
Correct.
But this has been our practice, so from years together.
Right.
And if you look at the rice porridge,
right,
the rice cooked on the previous night and then kept it for the all night, and on the next day when you have enough probiotics and prebiotics grown in that.
Right.
That has been our staple food for years.
Wow.
So that way, if you look at it, there has been a lot of practices which has come from Ayurveda, of course. Without even our knowledge that this is an Ayurvedic practice, we have been doing it, inculcating that in our day-to-day life, and maybe that may be one of the reasons.
And the fact that you have such, as a community, such high literacy rate.
Yeah.
So translating all those scriptures and Ayurvedic practices, because you read it and, people...
I think as a longevity researcher, you will be able to understand one more thing in this.
Yes.
Because we only use coconut oil.
Oh yes, 100%. Wow.
So, and nowadays there are so many research papers coming out which talks about the power of coconut oil, the power of MCT comes out of the coconut oil. So I think that has been there with us. We don't cook anything without coconut oil.
Right.
And in the morning before most of the time, if you have enough time, you can apply coconut oil on the body.
Right.
So I think that also could be one major reason.
100%. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
There was this one time where I was confused between coconut oil and extra virgin olive oil, because they say that, coconut oil solidifies in cooler temperatures, and olive oil doesn't. Right?
Yeah.
And then you have the blue zones.
They all use olive oil. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I was like, okay, but interestingly, we have to also look at what's available to us as an Indian population and what our genes more or less comply with and agree with, right? So I think one of the biggest failures of applying the blue zone methods, just the way it is, would be like somebody saying that, okay, I'm going to have salads and greens throughout the year, half of my plate.
True.
And then you end up getting an infection because,
Absolutely.
of the weather and everything. And then
I totally agree, because as you know, one of our core activity in our company, we roots, is EPLIMO, that's epigenetic lifestyle modification. So we must have done more than 20,000 cases till now, more than that, in which we decode the DNA and try to understand the risk factors for people.
Right.
And also we try to figure out the trigger, what can really result in that particular disease.
Right.
And Azad, the interesting fact is broccoli, when we were talking about Mediterranean diet, broccoli, we have seen in some cases, I'm not saying everyone, in some cases, people who are having certain autoimmune diseases, we find that one of the triggers could be excessive consumption of broccoli.
Oh, wow.
Because sulforaphane triggers certain genes in some people.
Right.
So you are right, because something works in the Mediterranean region necessarily need not work here.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's why, we in this podcast as well, it's totally dedicated to longevity.
Yeah.
We always try and bring best practices. So even if, we are speaking to somebody who's from the UK, like Andy Smith, for the PMF mat and everything, when I have that conversation, sometimes, there are these gaps. What's relevant to the Indian context? What is it that you can do? You have sun exposure, but you also have outdoor time.
Yeah.
You want to walk out in the sun, who knows, skin cancer, excessive exposure to that. And, how do you modify that in a context like India? So because you're such an expert in I'm assuming the genes that you study are mostly Indian, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So could you tell us something that we might be missing out when it comes to maybe, let's begin with cardiovascular disease.
That's the most common in India.
Correct.
Yeah.
So how do we look at it as a disease? And what else could be maybe a determinant in that, in the progression of that disease? Because they say that the LDL particle affects it, the lipoprotein A particle affects it, ApoB tag particles affect it. What is your take on it?
We have seen, we test for the predisposition, not for the actual disease, like in the sense that if you're carrying a gene variant which can lead to a particular disease.
Right.
So that means my father died from heart attack. So my grandpa also died from heart attack. So I carry the gene.
Right.
You don't require a genetic testing for that.
Right.
So I generally tell people that you don't just go for a genetic testing to understand all the risk and get panic.
Right.
So the key question is that what is that I'm keen about? I'm keen about knowing about what could be the trigger which made that gene on in my dad's life.
Right.
What
expressed that gene?
Yeah. What must have expressed? What must have triggered that gene to express? Because only when it is expressed you have a problem.
Right.
And most of the time when it is expressed you cannot reverse it.
Right.
Because gene editing is still not possible or legally not possible.
Right.
Now, if you look at, maybe I take 1,000 samples in India,
right,
we can see that more than 60%, 65% of the people have got one or other types of coronary artery disease.
Yes.
Heart-related challenges. So we did a very interesting observation, because we were very keen on looking at what is happening right now, especially youngsters who are in their 40s. We see them as very fit and healthy.
Yeah.
Even celebrities who have got all the money in the world, working out every single day, collapsing on the gym floor and dying.
Correct.
So we were super keen, what must be the reason? Some people blame the COVID vaccination. Some people say it's all because of excessive exercise. Some people say that it's because of poor sleep and then go for exercise. Yes. So what could be the reason? I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but still what we found is something very interesting. One, we took 500 samples where we found high risk for heart disease.
Right.
Specifically, if you look at it, sudden cardiac death.
Right.
Now we found not sudden cardiac death, it is heart disease or a coronary artery disease.
Coronary artery disease, yes.
Now we found that only out of that 500 people, only about 30 to 32% people have got a higher risk for elevated levels of LDL, resulting in heart disease.
Right.
So now we have been vilifying LDL for years, and we were assuming that LDL is the main villain.
Right.
When it comes to coronary artery disease.
Right, which is a common assumption for
But
everyone.
from our studies, we found something different. We found that only 30% people I can correlate with LDL.
Right.
But we found another interesting fact that almost 92% of these people, they were found to have a gene variant which leads to impaired DNA repair.
Right.
That means DNA always goes through a lot of stress, like the cell divisions happens.
Yeah.
So that time, all the time, you need to get it repaired. So the impaired DNA repair in these people, if that gene is expressed, then the DNA repair becomes impaired.
Right.
So I can rather correlate heart disease with impaired DNA repair rather than with LDL.
Wow.
Okay. Now, another interesting fact is, who are these people who are having this gene variant? We found 97% of the people who are having this gene variant, which can lead to impaired DNA repair, has got another challenge. They have a gene variant for lower absorption of antioxidants.
Wow. At a gut level.
In the genetic level.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you look at it, because genes are the ones who decides, how to take this pathway,
Right.
which pathway to take. Now, if you look at it, if that gene is expressed, that means that point of time onwards, their antioxidant breaking down will be less or absorption will be less.
Got it.
So now the question is statin is the solution or antioxidant is the solution when
Right.
it comes to heart disease?
Right. Because, even when we look at the LDL particle, there was some research that oxidized LDL particles are the ones that end up in the plaques. And that's a natural process of aging. And as you have exposure to these reactive oxygen species, that sort of keeps building up over the years. So I think what you're saying is really, really valid.
Yeah.
with-
Because oxidized LDL is what it is. So again, that is oxidation, and
Right.
you're talking about antioxidants.
Correct.
So that means, what is the actual root cause? If LDL, see, that's why there has been a lot of studies now coming out saying that LDL cannot be vilified, because LDL is like a pickup one.
Yeah.
And HDL and LDL, they are doing the job, and the liver is deploying them to get the job done.
Right.
And if somebody has got a cholesterol level going up, two things can happen. One is that he is very active, highly active.
Right.
Second reason is that the cholesterol is the construction material.
Yes.
It's a repair material.
Yes.
So somewhere the repair has to be done.
Correct.
And you cut down that cholesterol as such, so automatically all other systems are going to go haywire.
Right. Right.
And think about brain. Brain needs so much of cholesterol. It thrives on cholesterol. And if you are on a medication for a longer period of time controlling your cholesterol, think about your brain.
Right.
So I think when you look at, we're talking about the coronary artery disease or the heart-related diseases, there are so many correlations we can see which are very, I won't say surprising, but at the same time, which is contradicting the common beliefs. Like, another thing is what we have seen is about the connection between the sudden cardiac deaths and a gene variant called prolonged QT.
Right.
QT you know very well, because
Yes.
it's in the you take an
The
ECG, EKG, you can see the
ECG,
QT. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's a gap. So
Yeah.
it's genetic that some people have got a prolonged QT.
Yeah.
Now we have seen that the sudden cardiac death, when it comes to sudden cardiac death, almost more than 80% of the people have got this prolonged QT.
Right.
Okay. Now that doesn't mean that if you have a prolonged QT, you will have sudden cardiac death. We have seen that getting triggered when they get into certain exercise, especially HIITs,
Right.
or sometimes they run the long endurance runs like marathons.
Right.
Now we have got case studies where there was a gentleman who's a leading businessman who was running marathon. We didn't know that he was running marathon. He started running for marathons, and that was the time he went through a program.
Right.
So our genetic counselor said, "Sir, you have a challenge. This is challenge. You have a prolonged QT problem. So it is recommended that you don't run marathons." He was laughing. He said that impossible, because I've started running marathons last year and everything is going great. I am excited. But still, he continued. I think in 2022, he collapsed in the Delhi marathon.
Right.
And after that, he was taken to the hospital. The doctor knows about genetic predisposition. So he was also quite surprised that, he's a multi-billionaire. So he would have tested it. He said that I got the report. Then we had a second round of counseling, and we found there is another correlation. With most of the people who are having this gene variant for prolonged QT, they also have a gene variant which is blocking the absorption of magnesium.
Oh, wow.
So, or rather, they have a lower absorption of magnesium. Wow. So, we did these cases with higher dosages of magnesium with the support of medical doctors.
Right.
So, give them
higher
magnesium.
Than normal?
IVs.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then you run marathon. So what I'm talking about is it's very much of a kind of a customized format. Of course. Like before the podcast, we were talking about that. There is nothing called one size fits all.
Not at all.
That's where the problem is.
Correct.
Everyone thinks that okay, this is the paleo diet for some time, then keto diet for some other time, and ultimately for some people it works, some people it gives absolutely negative results. Especially you must be seeing it on the flow.
Yeah, 100%. Because when all these studies are done, they're supposed to work for some, but there'll always be an exclusion.
Absolutely,
in it. And when we go through the entire data, like we saw the strength data, we saw the VO2 max data. You still have people dying in the top VO2 max percentages. It's not like you don't. Like it's just a ratio which says that your probability of dying is significantly lower. But then if somebody with really high VO2 max is also dying, then what category do you fall in? They'll say we had the highest VO2 max for our age, gender, and demographics, or whatever it is. Even if you're in the top 2.5%, the hazard ratio for those who are in the bottom 25% would be 1:4. So for every person who dies in the top VO2 max, like top 2.5 percentile of VO2 max, there are 4 people dying in the bottommost. But there is that 1% dying.
There is that 1%,
Right?
Yeah.
So how do you, because this is a broad level study done on multiple, 100,000 individuals or maybe more, I think 120,000 individuals. So, what do the top percentiles do? So in that case, we have this rigorous program in odds where we try and look at all these factors through a genetic testing, through a blood biopsy, through looking at family history, and then creating a program. Do you stay zone?
That's the way.
Yeah. Do you stay zone 2, or do we take you all the way up to zone 4? Because if you have that risk factor, you don't want to be creating those levels of stressors on your body. And like you said, if somebody has the tendency of not having enough absorption for antioxidants, then they'll have more free radicals. Now have that person go through a very heavy round of exercise. You have
higher levels of free radical production.
Yes. Yeah. And how do you make up for all the oxidative stress created? So in that case, you want to keep away and you want to keep it low intensity. And I think we see that another place where we see that in our organization is that you'll have 45-year-old women, 46, 47 menopausal women. They're going and training for boxing, and we're like, okay, what, you are at a disposition of osteoporosis, you're going through menopause. Do you want to be doing this high impact sport? It's fun, it's the new thing to look out for on Instagram, and everybody's doing it. But I think it's stupid in your case, so don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there are a lot of awareness need to be there, because especially people are turning towards too much of health conscious.
Yeah.
And some people say that, my grandpa never did genetic testing. Right. There was no problem with him. I said, he never went into paleo diet or a keto diet. He was having a normal life. See, when you are getting into a specified kind of a routine, or you wanted to get into something like you are saying that I want to go for boxing, or somebody says that I want to run marathon, or if someone is saying that I want to get into a keto diet, rather you check your genetic profile, your metabolic profile, whether it's suiting you or not. Otherwise, it can do more harm than good.
100%. We saw this one person whose CRP levels were going up consistently, and they were staying elevated. We had to say, take it easy, just exercise 2 days in a week. and or 3 days in a week, just do like the minimal effective dose. So we have cases like that as well, where your body is not able to cope up with the kind of stressors that you're creating. Very cool. So let's move on to the next disease. What would you say one must do if they were to want to watch out for, let's say, metabolic diseases like diabetes, PCOS, or as well, any kind of other lifestyle disease which is associated with dysregulated metabolism? What can we understand at a gene level?
Yeah, but when it comes to metabolism, I think the best people to help is people like you, obviously. But from a genetic point of view, what we are seeing is that correlations, and it is very interesting to observe, because most of the genetic testing, what is being done, nobody's correlating data.
Yeah.
They're just giving you data and saying that these are the risk factors, avoid this.
Right.
Okay. But there could be a lot of contradictions. I've seen contradictions on genetic reports, like somebody who has got a higher risk for, say, lactose intolerance. So you can see the recommendation piece where it is written that avoid dairy products.
Right.
The same report I've seen in one genetic report, this person has got a lower absorption of calcium. So it is written that consume more dairy products. So it's a contradiction, because he has got both the contradictory gene variants.
Right.
So that's where experts needs to do. Now 2023 onwards, we have been training we have been doing machine learning. So our correlations are much, I would rather more accurate than just a manual correlation. So what we find is that if I give a generalized answer, we see a huge correlation between diabetes and magnesium at the genetic level.
Oh, wow.
Almost, I would say 87 to 89% people who are genetically predisposed for type 2 diabetes are all having a gene variant for depletion of magnesium or low absorption of magnesium.
Wow.
And we have done some work internally where we have seen this kind of people who have gone through this program, and they are all, we are requested them to do a blood test and see whether you are diabetic. Some of them were not, and some of them have started getting into the insulin resistance mode.
Right.
And then we even gave them magnesium and asked them to check after 2 or 3 months, and we could see the difference.
Wow, just from magnesium.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is just one correlation I'm talking about. We have seen many other things, like, when you talk about other lifestyle disorders like the neurodegenerative conditions, and we have seen zinc playing a major role in the genetic level, because we have seen many of the cases where you have issues connected with Alzheimer's. I'm saying predisposition, risk. And most of the cases we see a lower absorption of zinc for the same person.
Right.
So it is that, when that zinc level goes down at some point of time in your life, maybe because you change your diet or you change your location. By the way, WHO has come out with a kind of informal report which says that the fourth or third largest cause of death is change in PIN code, change in the zip code.
Really?
Yeah. So that means you move from one city to another city can be a cause of death, mainly because of these genetic expressions.
Right.
Because maybe change in the oil, change in the kind of, the cooking style, all can have, these are all epigenetic factors.
Yes.
So once you understand, that's what we have derived out of Eplimo. We go deeper and we understand what could be the trigger. And we only advise that person that avoid this trigger. PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acid, which is widely being used, like the sunflower oil is the most consumed oil now in this country at this point of time, the greatest poison. Now, when we look at it, majority of the coronary artery disease cases, we can directly correlate with higher levels of PUFA.
Wow.
Yeah. So put that person onto this kind of a PUFA heavy diet, whether it is sunflower oil or dalda or vegetable oil, seed oils, even for that matter flaxseed oil.
Right.
We can see that their chance of gene expression is very high.
I had this question because you said seed oil. What do you think about black seed oil, kalonji? they say it's very...
it's positive in that way.
Yeah.
I think there are not much of studies. I also got always surprised with these two seeds, that is the flax seed and the black seed, because both of them seems to have positive impact on the heart health.
Right.
But on the other side, on the proof from a PUFA point of view, there is a negative flip side. So I think not much of studies are there on that.
Right.
But now generally we recommend that avoid this when you have that kind of a elevated levels risk. Avoid all the seed oils. That's the best way to do it.
Right.
So these are some of the things what we have seen common. Even interesting thing, Azad, is there are some very, very interesting observations, because last 5-6 years we have been in this, and we always, every week we do a brainstorming on all the cases the genetic team and the medical team has covered. So there are a lot of findings. Mental health and genetics.
Right.
Which I never thought this has got anything to do with genes, because mental health we always consider it as connected to stress and environmental factors and the kind of life you are leading. But there is a gene variant which when it is expressed, it reduces your stress resilience.
Right.
So that means a person who has been handling a lot of stress, an entrepreneur, handling so much of business, when the moment the gene is expressed, that fellow cannot even handle even a minor, small stress.
Right.
Then the same person is asking the question that what happened to me? I used to handle all the stress in the world, but now I cannot even handle a small stress like, my PA is on leave today.
Right.
What should I do now?
Right.
I'm panic.
Right.
So this is that particular gene, the stress resilience gene. And interestingly, we have seen almost in 50 to 60% cases of those people who are carrying this gene variant. This gene variant switching on has got a direct correlation with either magnesium or zinc deficiencies.
Right.
Wow. Some people has got it in magnesium, some people have got it with zinc. Another thing, a very interesting observation we found is about the cases like depression.
Right.
90 to 93% of the people who are having this gene variant for low stress resilience also carry a gene variant for depression. Now, why for some people SSRIs, that is the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, work, and for some people it doesn't make any difference, because there are genes responsible for carrying the serotonin.
Right.
Okay. There is this gene called HTT which carries the serotonin between the neurons. Now, if HTT is impaired genetically, it's a gene.
Yes.
Then how much ever SSRI you try to provide, it's not going to make any difference.
Right.
We also found there is a gene called TPHI, if I'm correct. That's a gene which breaks down that's a gene which converts or translates the L-tryptophan into serotonin. And if that gene is impaired, again, your entire mechanism is going haywire. Your normal protocols don't work. So it's always advisable for anybody to create a blueprint of your life, for your DNA blueprint once. This is once in your lifetime affair.
Right.
And based on that, that these could be the triggers for this is risk factors, and avoid that triggers so that you can leave that whatever targets 120 or 150 with absolute health. That's what we have seen.
So when you say one must get this gene test done at least once, would these gene expressions that you test for whoever is predisposed to certain kind of genes, right? Would the report be the same always?
Yeah.
Like if I get it done after 5 years, would it still represent that?
Yeah.
It would be the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Because these genetic predisposition tests never cannot identify the expressions. Like whether it is expressed or not, I don't know.
Right.
You are carrying a gene variant which may express, may not express.
Right.
It will express only when that is triggered. The trigger is the epigenetics.
Got it.
So epigenetics is more important than genetics.
Understood. Of course.
But just by saying that it's all about epigenetics and nothing to do with genetics, without knowing what is a gene variant, what kind of modification you're going to make.
Exactly.
So the only for that basic information, that what kind of risk I am carrying, what kind of gene variants I am carrying, and what could be the trigger for that, and then I modify my life. And what we have done is that to make it easy for people, we have also come out with a super app called Trigger.
Right.
So this super app, suppose when you complete your Eplimo, that point of time, you will be having the trigger. And this trigger, your genetic information is already loaded. So at any point of time, you can check with your AI concierge that, hey, my trainer has recommended HAIT, can I go ahead?
Right.
So your concierge will say that, hey, you are having this gene variant called prolonged QT, which can actually create trouble for you. Check with your, tell this to your trainer and get it verified.
Right.
Or this happened recently, when one of my friends who is having this app, he was having a kind of a TIA, transient ischemic attack, something like that. It was not actually TIA, but it was detected like TIA. And he was with the neurologist, and then they suggested some medicines. Because as a protocol, he has to take the medicine. So they wrote clopidogrel, which is a common blood thinner, and aspirin. So he asked, doctor, if you permit me, can I check, because I have an AI concierge. The doctor also is very kind of advanced. He said, oh, go ahead. So he asked, hey, can I use clopidogrel? It's safe for me. So our concierge actually rejected. Concierge said, with intake of concierge, you have a particular gene variant which elevates your risk for coronary artery disease.
Oh, wow. The same medicines are supposed to prevent it.
So he asked this, checked with the doctor, and doctor was very impressed. Doctor actually recommended another medicine. Doctor asked him, ask your concierge, what should I recommend? What should I prescribe? And that they gave 3 options, and out of which doctor picked one.
Right.
So that's called, personalized medicine right now, which is right now available. Now it's not like, it's the future.
Yes.
So that's where the user, I'm only looking from a user point of view. I'm not a medical doctor. So I look at it from a user point of view. How can it benefit the user? Just by having a report and knowing about the risk factors is not going to save you. I know there are many people who are carrying this report and they just keep it aside and leave the life there.
Yeah, they don't know how to apply it.
They don't know how to apply it. So that's where we are trying to focus, and we're seeing that results.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's very cool. And to all of our listeners, whoever wants to get a gene test done, please reach out to V-Roots and Eplimo.
Yeah, we run it as a program, like not a test.
Yeah.
Test, then we have a counseling recommendation. We provide the app. We provide a hand holding. So that's the way it goes. It has to give results.
It has to, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, and speaking of genes and everything, what is your take on the kind of lifestyles that we live? Because you said epigenetics are so important. So considering the way people are leading lives, especially in metropolitans like Delhi and Mumbai, I know that, you said you and I both agree on the fact that, we should have a very, very individualized approach. But if somebody were to be like, okay, I want to take 3 things from Dr. Sajeev Nair and understand how can I just be a better person towards my health. 3 or 4 things that a regular person living in a metropolitan city like Delhi or Mumbai, what is it that they should really look out for?
See, one most important thing is that we have to stop complaining about where we live, because if you are in Delhi with a reason, you are in Delhi with a reason. So
and if you change your PIN code, you could die.
Not because of that. The major challenge what we do is that, because my doctorate has been on cognitive related aspects and human performance. So what I always believe is that whatever science we talk about, beyond science, something which exists in this universe, which is more powerful than any science, is your belief.
Right.
Because belief also is a science. Because belief is a strong neural pathway which is being built in your brain.
Yes.
Any belief for that matter. And the brain has got all the mechanisms in place by which it can present in front of you all the evidences based on your beliefs. Now you believe that living in Delhi or living in a metro is the worst thing which can happen to your life. The brain will present before you all the evidences for that.
Right.
And your life is going to be more ruined.
Right.
More of frustration, more of stress. So when someone else asks this question, what should we do? I said, if you have a choice, then I can ask, then I can give a different answer. If you don't have a choice, then we have to understand that, okay, I'm living in this city, number one, and I'm going to live here, with all the kinds of problems, because human body is unbelievable.
Yes.
I think our body is equipped to fight any kind of things.
Yes.
Let the new virus come, our body knows how to cope up with that.
Yes.
So I think a person who is living in a city, a metro city, your body and your immune system must be much powerful than my immune system, hopefully. I've seen people who come from the US. Can they drink the water what we drink?
No.
They cannot.
Yes.
Because for us, it's absolutely normal. For them, it's not possible.
Yes.
So I think our body, our brain has equipped, it knows that how to equip with the surroundings. So you don't have to worry that much, number one. At the same time, not saying that we should not be concerned. We should be loving our body, we should be loving our brain, we should be loving our mind. Hence, we should treat it properly. How to treat it properly? Suppose if you are in a metro, you are living in a metro, I think you have to take a break at least for about 2 weeks in a year. Go to a place where you can get real fresh oxygen, you can be there completely relaxed. It's worth that investment.
It is.
Because that can do a lot of cleansing and detoxification.
Right.
And now there are many centers which has come up. I think you also run a center. We have a center out there. And maybe we don't have time, good enough time to wake up in the morning and look at the sun for some time and maybe walk under the sunlight between 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock to get the vitamin D and all those kinds of things. We don't have all the time. Then we have almost like the simulated environment which is available in all the longevity centers. So how much money we spend on various things? Why don't we spend some money on ourselves every single week?
Right.
Go to a longevity center, a biohack center. Go under a red light chamber. Go into an HBOT. Go into a pulse electromagnetic field. And because the best thing which I do to my body is that I walk barefooted on soil every single day for at least 10 minutes.
Right.
But everybody may not have that kind of a luxury. That's a luxury now for a lot of people.
It is.
Good old time, it was normal.
It is.
Now you go and have a PEMF session for about 20 minutes in a center, weekly once, on a Sunday, maybe on a Saturday. So instead of just complaining and being a victim, getting victimized,
right,
we have to own that situation and start taking action.
Yeah.
Now, supplementation. There are two schools of thoughts. Should we take supplement or shouldn't we take supplement? I have been in this industry for the last 20 years, and I've always seen the kind of awareness has gone up and up and up. But at the same time, there are lots of people who are thinking the other way around also. My point is very simple. We need nutrients. We don't require supplements. We need nutrients. If you can get all the nutrients from food, forget about supplements. But who will guarantee and how I will get that guarantee that I will get all the nutrients from food?
Right.
I need to have all the different types of vegetables, fruits, how much I can eat, and do I have the time to eat? Yeah. And even if I take a decision to eat, what is the guarantee that it's of quality and it contains the nutrients?
Yes.
Somebody was talking about magnesium. Magnesium is richly available in green leafy vegetables, especially in moringa and all those stuff.
Blueberries also.
Blueberries. Now the question is, you can check on ChatGPT. You can see that the last 10 years, magnesium level in the soil has dropped by 58%. Plants don't produce magnesium. It has to get it from the soil.
Yes.
So what are you talking about? It's impossible now to get all the nutrients in sufficient quantity for your body and for your brain. So I think supplementation has become almost like food.
Right.
So we need to understand it, and we need to, of course, it has to be personalized. It should not be like, you eat a lot of stuff and all those kinds of stuff. I'm not a person who takes hundreds of supplements every single day, which has become a kind of fashion in longevity world.
Right.
So I think there are a few things if you ask me. One is that you have to give a break at some point of time, like about 1 or 2 weeks. Some people think that's all for rich people. No.
You can go to a simpler place.
You can go to any place where there is clean air, clean water, and you can be at peace for 2 weeks in a year. It's worth it. It's the best detox. And invest some money on yourself and reworking on yourself and re-energizing your cellular mechanism. and always try to touch earth, which I have seen massive results. Like even in cases of preliminary stages of neuropathy, I've seen people completely getting recovered only by just grounding or earthing.
Wow.
Now, another thing on which people can, without any expense, they can focus on is the breath.
Right.
Because nowadays we are all going through a very high stress world. If somebody is giving an advice that you should reduce your stress, I won't go for that, because I'm an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship means I'm venturing. Venturing
Yes.
means risk.
Yes.
Risk means stress.
Yes.
So the only thing what I can do is that how I can increase my resilience to stress.
Correct.
How I can cope up myself for the stress. And for that, I need to have a very powerful, my entire nervous system should be so tuned, which is easy.
Yes.
It is the easiest thing to do by focusing on your breath. That's the greatest access tool you have.
Yes.
And practicing that, whatever kind of breathing practice which you follow or which do it in a regular way. Like, breathe in maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Maybe box breathing or whatever. Spend about 15 minutes on that, which anywhere in the world you can do it. So these are some of the things what is well within our control without much of cost.
Yeah. Everybody is wearing the Whoop these days. And I tell all my friends that, just do like a little bit of breath work before sleeping.
Yeah.
It's there on every app. There's a global coherence app which, regulates breath work. It's like a game. You do it all across the world. Everybody's doing the same kind of breath counts.
Oh, right.
Thousands
Okay.
of
Yeah.
people.
Okay.
So you tap into that energy. And if you wake up in the morning, you'll see that your HRV is better.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were talking about prolonged QT,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
And HRV is the calculation between all your QRSTs.
Correct.
It's an aggregate of that. It's the way to measure that. So you see improvements on that. You see improvements on your resting heart rate. You have a better entering state. You enter better, more smoothly into the delta, which is deep sleep, and REM sleep as well. So I think that's very valid.
Yeah.
You essentially, what you're saying is that this is what's available to you. Make the most of it and find the tools that will allow you to thrive in this situation.
True. And all this sleep routines or sleep tools, whatever little bit of things you can hear from all the social media advisors about whether cutting the blue light or going to bed 2 hours, after your dinner, all those kinds of things. Many people listen to it, but they never practice.
Yeah.
Because sleep is the time when your body recovers and you cannot compromise on it.
Yeah.
And that's why I always teach people that your tomorrow starts today evening.
Yes.
So how you are going to design your today evening, like right from after your sunset, that is going to decide your tomorrow, your energy levels and everything.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, absolutely. It works. And I always practice that. I always make sure that, even if, suppose you're going for a party, you should know that what is tomorrow.
Yes.
So if I have got a very important recording tomorrow or maybe an important meeting to do, so I may as well either avoid the party or take enough measures so that it doesn't affect tomorrow.
Correct. I'm going to quote you on this.
Yeah.
I will use this.
And I practice that 100%.
Yeah.
Because I never take a chance. Like I do performance conventions where 3,000, 4,000 people come and full day I allowed to be on the stage. Just imagine on the previous evening I goof up.
Yeah.
I am going to kill the expectations of 3,000 people.
Correct.
So, it's all depends on the today evening.
100%.
I think the interesting thing what we have seen is in the longevity space. We always say longevity, the biggest or the strongest longevity organ is your muscle.
Yes.
So, what is that people should do? I would rather say that going to gym, working out is all kind of, everyone is saying, okay, that's all great idea. We have been hearing it for quite some time.
Yes.
At least can you give 1 or 2 points by which people should understand that if the muscles are weak, you have really screwed up your life.
Correct. So that's actually a great statement, because while I was doing my dissertation on neuromuscular aging, we were looking at what are some factors because of which either people and you'll appreciate this because you're so much about the mind. Why is it that some people, as they age, they have more resilience and the will to live longer keeps them alive? Some say it's purpose, and and some say it's quality of life.
Yeah.
And if you have great quality of life, if you have the purpose, you'll want to live longer so you can fight the diseases, like you said. The human body is more resilient. Why is it that a younger person can fight cancer better, besides the fact that they heal faster and they're younger? What is it that allows the older person, um, the younger person, to bounce back quicker? So while answering that question, first we need to understand the determinants of quality of life, right? What determines what kind of quality of life you're going to have, and whether you will want to live longer or not. That's a choice, right? Like happiness is a choice, so is the will to live longer. And when we see that as you age, if you lose functionality and you have a lot of dependence, a lot of codependence, and you're not able to perform activities of daily living, whether it's a flight of stairs, whether it's getting up from a toilet seat. The Indian toilets have started disappearing. You have the Western toilets. And people are finding it hard to get up from the ground. People are finding it hard to, stabilize themselves. And that, I think, is a significant...
the basic functions.
Yes, that's a significant determinant of whether you will want to live or not.
Yeah.
You see people on the airport, they're on a wheelchair, and the person who's taking them, he's gone to the restroom, and the person is just sitting there waiting for the next thing to happen.
What a scary picture.
Yes. So when we talk about muscle, and when people say go to the gym, I think what they're missing out on is, and this is a paper by Bauman, I'm forgetting the year, which says that knowledge of exercise, knowledge of health from exercise, if I'm not getting it wrong, is not a correlate to physical activity or indulgence of it, but perceived benefits of health with physical activity, or perceived, if you attach it to the perception of better quality of life, you will indulge in physical activity. So instead of maybe making a remark like just go to the gym,
what's the desired outcome you're
what is the
looking
desired
for?
outcome?
Yeah. How do you see after that? Yeah.
And when we look at that, then you want to extrapolate from your current levels and tell them, okay, you know what, you're not making it here.
Yeah.
If you can't do a sit to stand from the ground, and at the age of 45, don't expect it to get better when it's 60. You will be needing somebody's help. So if your baseline is this, what can you do to fix it? And then come the exercises required to match those desired outcomes. If you want to, maybe travel the world independently, go from one, let's say, terminal to another, you will need the ability to...
Absolutely. And I always experience that because I started going to the a gym maybe only about 3 or 4 years back. Till that, I never went to a gym. And the more frequent you go to the gym, sometimes you break also because of maybe you are traveling, or maybe because of so many reasons. Always finding, not like you, we always find excuses. So when you're on a regular path, like today morning when I was walking in the airport lobby, I could feel it. I feel myself light.
Yes.
That I was feeling, oh my God, this is nice. Like it's worth taking all that effort, all the pain in the gym.
Yes.
Because I feel so light, and I feel like, kind of when your shoulders are up straight and you are walking straight without your knowledge.
Yes.
Otherwise also you can do it, but it is kind of intentional.
Yes.
But this happens automatically.
Yes.
So I think the greatest thing, what some people ask me this question, because they say that it's all great, we have been getting all this advice. But I said, forget about all those kinds of things, Do you want to really feel good?
Yeah.
Because ultimately the endorphins are feel-good hormones.
Yes.
So the more the endorphins come out, and I have seen another thing with many people when I suggest them to start work out something, whatever it is, a bit of higher dosages of exercises, whatever normally they do. The BDNF effect
brain-derived neurotrophic
factor,
yes.
so which is something amazing, which most of the people, I never seen people talking about it, the brain-derived neurotrophic factors, which is the mother of all the hormones, yes, which really makes your entire system rejuvenated. It's not just your muscles, yes, it's the entire system completely gets rejuvenated.
Yes. In fact, there's not a big study on strength training and white matter and gray matter, but a smaller study on 30 individuals. It's a longitudinal study, so it makes it more relevant that way. That through exercise and how you have significant effects on the volume of your brain. And
absolutely, yeah.
And especially, and I would not know what the determinants of that process would be, but I'm assuming that if you're exercising, it's a deemed hard activity, and the human body is designed to do a lot of physical manual labor since its development, right? And if you indulge in that physical activity, it sends signals to your body that you still need relevant motor unit recruitment, cognitive capacity, the ability to make decisions, etc., all those things. And that on its own retains certain centers of the brain, especially the executive centers, where decision making and
you are absolutely right. Because I've always been passionate about neuroscience, and I've looked at it from this angle. Right. One is that whenever you do exercise, especially not the same thing every single day, of course, if you have a PT, he will not allow you to do the same thing again and again. So that enhances the neuroplasticity. Yes. That means your neurons are not hard bound, as you know. So they are ready to connect with the new neurons. They are all ready. They are looking for new neurons. Yes. So that the more neuroplastic your brain becomes, the more cognitive capabilities you are building now. Yes. You're like what you said, the executive capabilities or memory enhancement. So neuroplasticity, as otherwise what happens is that, especially when people on one side is demanding you to be having a routine life, a discipline, routine, and all these kinds of things are actually reducing your neuroplasticity. Right. So on the other side, when you're bringing in variety, that's the time the neuroplasticity increases.
Correct.
And I have always seen in when I work out, there is one thing is that my brain is at an uncertain zone because I am not sure what the PT is going to tell me next.
Right.
So I'm always in an uncertain zone. That's very good. Right. So because when it becomes very definite, the brain runs on its own path.
Yes.
That's one way of looking at it. Number two is that when you are in a high stress mode, or rather you are doing a high intensity training, that's a time you are into a homeostasis state.
Yes.
The homeostasis state, if you look at it, your fear center is active, but it's controlled. Like that after 10 reps, I can stop it.
Yes.
So it's only active for a period of time.
Right.
So we have always seen that whenever your fear center is active, or your the entire axis, HPA axis, is active for a controlled period of time, a specific period of time, it always enhances endorphins rather than cortisol.
Yes, also increases resilience.
It increases resilience. It's overall the brain functions enhances. You are right, absolutely right. I have experienced. I've told many people that not for your muscles, but for your brain, it's a very, very important task.
Yeah, and the moment you tell that to some high performance individuals like a CEO or a founder or a CXO, they value that.
Yeah,
because that if I were to tell someone that your REM sleep significantly enhances your cognitive performance, and you need it for your goals and ambitions, there's a very famous designer, Mr. Tarun Tehliani, and his job is to be very creative. And for the longest time, he was not spending time on his sleep, and despite that, he was very creative. I said, just try it and then see how it goes.
Wow.
And he just was like, I'm going to do my cardio, which also improves cerebrovascular health because of the blood flow, and then REM sleep assisted with it. He says, I'm on a spree, and I think it's improved the way he looks at
life. And of course, your mitochondrial functions.
Yes, 100%.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, 100%.
Now, most of the studies prove that the number one reason for aging is mitochondrial dysfunction.
Yes.
and you have while you have got about 1,000 to 2,000 mitochondria in your cells per cell,
Yes.
it is being estimated that around 10,000 plus mitochondria per cell is there in your brain, in your heart, and also in your retina.
Yes.
So when you are exercising, your brain and your heart are at the best. The
Yes.
mitochondrial functions enhances automatically. So I think all in all, that also gives a, when you look at longevity, there are lots of people who are dreaming about 100 plus, living 100 plus, having absolute health and vitality.
Yes.
They should know that unless and until they don't treat their mitochondria in a proper way,
Yeah.
they're not going to do it.
Yes.
And I always tell people that mitochondria, even if you want to die, your mitochondria, they don't want to die.
Yeah.
They are external organelle living inside you.
Correct.
In fact, I read somewhere that there's a very interesting statement. You are alive only because they want to live.
Yeah.
Your mitochondria and the microbiomes which are there inside your gut,
Yeah.
they want to live, and you are a place to live. So don't damage the place.
Correct.
As long as you can keep the place intact, these guys will make you live.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's true. That's so true.
Yeah.
And while we were talking about exercise, strength training shows that you can increase mitochondrial size.
Yes, absolutely.
And endurance
Number of
training,
mitochondria.
number of mitochondria.
Yeah.
So that's a very valid what you're saying. That's amazing.
All right.
Amazing. So I think this was a great chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very refreshing. Many new things that I also learned today about genetics, epigenetics, and I think I hope to maybe in the future maybe we can do some work together around this.
Absolutely.
Space.
And also I should say that you made a big impact on the World Biohack Summit stage.
Thank you so much for
because
having me
the way you presented it, most of the people are appreciating, because you are talking it not from a theory point of view. It was very practical.
Right.
So that was amazing. So you are a great addition. You were a great addition, and we would like to continue that association.
Thank you so much for having me there, and I really appreciate you coming here from Kochi and giving us your time here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.